What's up, and welcome to the Single Player Experience, the podcast that celebrates the games that care about your time, your playstyle, and your sanity. Evidently, something Call of Duty apparently forgot to do. Anyways, I'm your host, Sebastion, and today, oh boy, we're diving into a topic that has me genuinely confused, frustrated, and if I'm being honest, a little heartbroken. We're talking about the weird decline. No, scratch that. Decline is not enough. We're talking about the free fall of Call of Duty campaigns and how Black Ops 7 might be the strangest entry to the franchise in absolute decades. We're going to be talking about how this campaign feels like a departure from everything that modern day shooter campaigns should be and at what Call of Duty historically has been. Anyways, we're going to be talking about that. And we're going to be shifting gears completely. We're going to be talking about some good stuff in this episode, like Megabonk. We're going to be talking about Ball X Pit and why indie games are giving me the joy that evidently AAA games refuse to deliver lately. Anyways, if you didn't know, we're going to be taking a little bit of shots at Call of Duty. So get ready, get strapped in, and let's get to it. DJ, start the intro, man.
Round one, fight.
And that's the bottom line.
His kick is good.
I need a weapon.
You cannot escape.
You forget 1,000 things every day. How about you make sure this is one of them?
Here we go.
It's time for the main event.
All right, so let's get right into it. Let's get into what has me in a tizzy, what got me kind of like upset this week, because I need to talk about Black Ops 7, the campaign. And let me start with this. I'm not a diehard like Call of Duty guy by any means. I'm not lining up at midnight releases. I'm not grinding prestige levels every year. I'm not sweating into multiplayer, running deep with my squad and like zombies. That's just not who I am. I like the single player games. I traditionally like, finding good single player experiences, playing my fill of those and then moving on to my next big single player adventure. But, historically speaking, every year or every other year, I like diving into the COD campaigns. The reason being is because they were short. They're usually fun. They're bombastic. They feel like these high paced, like high octane action movies meets these like well paced roller coasters. They feel like war movies meet spy thrillers, and they have these really big, awesome budgets and these really cool set pieces that make me go, "Oh shit, I'm in the moment." Like I get to role play as like this really cool badass doing badass shit and taking down the bad guys. Like I enjoy those campaigns. I enjoy those moments once a year whenever I jump into, the Call of Duty campaigns. But man, Black Ops 7, this shit is something else. Like, let me be clear here. The vibes are completely off. This campaign is so far removed from what a Call of Duty campaign used to be that playing it felt like I was staring at a long, distant relative that I hadn't seen in years, like absolutely years. And, I'm looking at them and thinking like to myself, are we actually related? Like I haven't seen you in a very long time. It's almost like seeing like the Kansas City Chiefs this year. This is probably a better scenario here than the Cousins scenario, but like it's seeing the Kansas City Chiefs and them struggling, and you're thinking to yourself like, this is the team that is on the fringe of a dynasty for the last 5 years that people would watch in the Super Bowl. Like this is that team. This Call of Duty campaign is like watching Tom Brady basically suck at football. It's like watching Michael Jordan. It just, he killed it on the Wizards for for his level, like he was still one of the best players in the world when he was on the Wizards. But this is like seeing him on the Wizards and seeing that Wizards jersey when you're used to seeing him on with that Bulls gear on. It felt wrong. It felt foreign, like, anyways, I'm in babbling. Anyways, Call of Duty used to be, at least in spirit, a game about the human cost of war, boots on the ground and dread. Like it used to be about the chaos, the impossible odds, the cinematic storytelling. It used to be about the Call of Duty. Now I'm fighting, and I kid you not, I shit you not here. I'm fighting a hallucinated giant vomit plant monster. I'm fighting robots. I'm fighting zombies. I'm fighting giant humanoids. I'm fighting psychotic spiders. Like, what the hell is this game anymore? What is this campaign anymore? This feels like I'm fighting make believe characters. This feels like a different IP at this point. Like, I was fighting underwater mechs, and I'm doing it all through a gas that gives everyone a shared fever dream. Like I'm fighting the Scarecrow from Batman. Like, what is Call of Duty right now? Like, that is absolutely crazy. This game should be about, like the cost of war, about like the PTSD moments. It should be about like, objectives that have to do with like combat, or maybe like a actual war in history, like, or maybe a fictitious like ops that corresponds with something that really happened in history, like Desert Storm, or World War One or World War Two, like something to do that actually has like substance behind the story, like this shouldn't be a game where I'm fighting mechs, like spider monsters, humanoid plants, zombies, all the while I'm like trying to figure out what's real or not because I got infected by Batman's scarecrow toxin. What is that? It felt like AI or 6-year-old wrote this game, and they wrote it. The 6-year-old wrote it after eating so much damn candy he was just like cranked up to like level 10. This game feels like it is completely foreign to what Call of Duty campaigns are supposed to be. Yeah. Let's move on to the plot, because the plot sounds like mad ad libs. It is absolutely crazy. Let me try to describe the plot out loud, and I promise you, I'm not making any of this shit up. So, you go to an island. It's of course a trap. You get hit with red gas that gives you mass hallucinations, and everyone's brain chipped together, so they all share the same hallucination. Every single person in your squad are sharing the same exact hallucination. You fight in your hallucinations guild soldiers, robots, monsters, undead prisoners, giant plant creatures, and a kaiju sized person. And then you go to Tokyo, then you go underwater, and then inside of some kind of like psychotic prison maze. And it's nonsense. All of this is absolutely nonsense. And normally, like, nonsense could be fun. It could be like genuinely fun to play a nonsensical game when you know going into it what you're getting yourself into. Like, I'm playing a game like High on Life, where I know it's about the comedic moments. It has action in it, but it's about like the storytelling. It's about the zippy jokes. It's about the Rick and Morty style of humor. I get that. I know that going into it. Games can be silly. Games are supposed to help you relax. It's supposed to help you like have fun. I get that. I completely get that. But here's the problem. This is not a single player campaign anymore. Like, it, it's explicitly stated as a co-op campaign. The menu says so. They said so in their like press events leading up to this game. The design says that, the tuning says it. They say this is an experience. They're like, before this game came out, they said this is an experience that you can play solo. Like, this is a co-op campaign, but yes, it can be enjoyed as a single player campaign experience. They fucking lied. They absolutely lie, because you can play this game solo, but they punish you for doing it. They absolutely punish you, like, for trying to play this game by yourself. And as someone who plays like the COD campaigns for the solo experience, this was the first year I felt like the game was judging me for not having 3 friends online. you know and on top of that, in this campaign, there's no difficulty settings, there's no AI teammates. Scaling feels massively unfair. Bullet sponge enemies are absolutely everywhere. There's no checkpoints, so you either finish the mission or you have to start that some gun all the way over. There's no pause button in this. You can pretend to pause. Your ass is gonna get clapped. While you trying to pause the game, it don't matter. There's no pause button here. If you get disconnected, if you walk away for more than 1 minute, like, let me repeat that. You get disconnected if you walk away from the game for more than 1 minute. Like, bro, what is this? What is this? Like, I paused the game once to take a phone call. I came back, kicked out due to inactivity of a single player campaign. That's madness. This is the first Call of Duty campaign designed for people who don't care about campaigns. Like, this is a campaign for those people who just want to get in there, mess some stuff up, who don't care about story evidently, and who just want to have some wacky fun with their friends. If that's you, congratulations, you got your campaign. For all of us single player, like fans of single player shooter campaigns, this is absolutely malarkey. And I'm sorry to use the M word there. This absolutely sucks because this wasn't made for us. This absolutely was not. But anyways, this is what hurts the most. The actual gameplay, the shooting, the feel of the weapons, it's phenomenal. It's what you expect from Call of Duty. Like, it's what you expect from a Call of Duty campaign. Everything feels good to like shoot and all that kind of stuff. It feels good to shoot and play still. All that feels nice. It feels like you still have control over everything you want to do. The grenades, the weapons, like the drones, the weapons like the turrets and all that kind of stuff. It feels very right to manipulate and to shoot and to navigate. Like, all those things feel good in your hands. It feels really good to still pull the triggers. It feels really good to like do some really cool like sprints and then dive and then take down multiple enemies. It feels really cool to like shoot barrels and make that explode and disorient or kill all the enemies around that barrel. That still feels fun. The actual gameplay still feels fun to play. With that said, though, Treyarch has always understood the snap of Call of Duty, like, and Call of Duty gameplay. The recoil, the sound design, the responsiveness, they're all top tier. Like, there's even a third party mode, which is surprisingly good. And honestly, it might be the best part of this entire game. But great gunplay can't save a campaign that feels like, one, it's a live service game. Two, it's a co-op experiment that is obviously like geared towards maybe their direction in the franchise going forward, like where they're trying to keep more multiplayer experiences, like produce more multiplayer experiences than ever before. And this feels like a brainstorm that no one said no to. Like, all ideas were on the table and all ideas made the cut is what it feels like. This is a collection of half finished ideas. It's like a series of hallucinations, like hallucination levels designed to hide a lack of a cohesive narrative. And that sucks. It feels really sad. And worst of all, like, I know I've been on a tangent, but like, it takes more than guns and explosions to be a Call of Duty campaign. It takes pacing, it takes structure, it takes escalation. It takes like iconic sequences, characters you remember, because damn it, we're lacking characters to like memorable character moments in this game at like completely in this campaign. It takes moments that hit you in the gut, it takes all those things wrapped into one, and that's what really makes a really cool Call of Duty campaign. I feel like we got a little bit of that last year. I feel like we were moving in the right direction. I feel like last year, like, the Black Ops campaign was really kick-ass. Black Ops 7, unfortunately, the campaign at least has none of that. It feels like something else entirely, something loud, something messy, and something unfocused. And that's why it disappoints me. Not because I'm nostalgic, but because last year's campaign was genuinely, genuinely good. Modern Warfare 3's reboot campaign, while not great, but it was at least grounded. It was something that felt like it had some substance to it. Black Ops Cold War, it was weird, some weird shit, but it was fun. This this is the moment that the franchise seems like it forgot itself. If you're a solo, like solo gamer like I am most of the time, if you like solo campaigns and those things really get you excited, I would say this game's and its campaign is a skip. Like, skip it. You might have some great gunplay, but if you don't care about story, sure, give this a shot. But like, if all those things that I said to you, like, really resonate of why, like, what makes a good Call of Duty campaign, it's all missing here. Like, all the big set piece moments that make you like say, "Oh shit, this is actually awesome." The characters, the really cool moments that really grab you and make you feel like you're playing a badass spy movie, like all that stuff missing here. So if that's what you really look forward to in Call of Duty campaigns, I'd say you definitely skip this. Yeah. Ultimately, though, Black Ops 7 is a swing and a miss, and the bat flew into the stands and hit somebody's grandma. That's how bad this feels. I truly hope this franchise remembers who it is when it comes to campaigns, or just skip it automatically. If you are going to give this to us every year, I'd prefer not to have it, period. Like if this is the new direction you're moving to, is this co-op, always online experience, and you're going to just skip out on our us the single player gamers, like just be upfront about it. Let us know, rip the band-aid off, like be honest with us. I'd rather you be honest with us than give us this dusty, dirty ass damned campaign that you gave us this year, because y'all hold us. Y'all absolutely hold us. But anyways, let me know what you think. Did you play the campaign? Does this make you want to play it more? Are you the type of player who just wants to get in and have fun with a good Call of Duty campaign? Let me know what you think. All right, so let's move on to segment number 2, and let's bring some joy back into this episode, because thankfully we got some really cool stories to talk about that are on the more positive side of things. So thankfully, indie devs are here and doing the Lord's work, everybody. And let's talk about one of the stories that kind of took me off guard. Last week I gave a video game recommendation for Megabonk, because this game has been all over the place. I dove into it. I absolutely love this game. I think it's one of those indie gems that I feel like if you are a PC gamer right now, you definitely need to check out. And if you're a console gamer, definitely keep your eyes out for when this game gets ported over to consoles, because if you liked Vampire Survivors, it's going to be a must play for y'all. But anyways, so while I'm babbling, some of y'all are probably thinking, like, especially if you didn't listen to last week's episode, or if this is your first time here, what the hell is a Megabonk? And let me just explain. Megabonk is a 3D survivors like. Think of Vampire Survivors, but with full 3D movement and a ridiculous sense of humor. You can auto fire weapons just like Vampire Survivors, where all you basically do is walk around and the weapons kind of fire by themselves. Like whether it be like these bananas that shoot out at enemies that feel like boomerangs that fire back at you, the fire staff which shoots out like fireballs at the nearest enemy around you. It could be swords that shoot in the direction forward of what you're walking, like these like sword blade attacks. So you basically have auto fire, you dodge swarms, you collect upgrades, and you eventually become this unstoppable ball of absolute destruction. But that's just what Megabonk is, but that's not what kind of sets it apart. It's not just the gameplay, it's the personality. It's like this game feels like if it was made by someone who said, I want people to just have fun and think later. Like there's a genuine like it's crazy because I just dogged on Call of Duty's Black Ops 7's campaign for, basically being a decent gameplay experience, but then like feeling like it didn't have any identity to like gravitate to going forward. Well, this game is similar in the sense to where like it's gameplay focused first, but it's different in the sense because like this game clearly knows what it wants to be. It has an identity, and it just leans into that. It has personality. The movement feels absolutely incredible. The humor absolutely lands. There are characters all throughout the game that have like these different meta like abilities and personalities. There's this almost this shirtless man that walks around and does the Conor McGregor walk while the shield around him basically messes up all the enemies around him. There's a skeleton who has a skateboard, who basically goes around on the skateboard throwing bones at people. I like to call him Bone Daddy, but like he absolutely destroys people around him. There's other really cool and wonky like meta references to like pop culture and video game culture that absolutely hits hard, and this game fully leans into its personality. And I think like the humor for the most part absolutely lands in Megabonk. And then the 3D space opens up the genre in a very fresh way. Like if you liked Vampire Survivors, this game is kind of very similar to what Vampire Survivors is. The core nature of what Vampire Survivors is completely, except that it's a 3D game, and that adds another layer and wrinkle to like the gameplay and the way like you strategize, and you have jump functionality where you can like jump out of the way of enemies even though you might be surrounded. And there's just little tiny things to where I feel like it takes like the Vampire Survivors formula and evolves it in to make it its own unique, distinctive experience. So like the like variety is absolutely excellent in this game. The meta progression is like absolutely addicting. The visuals are simple, but in a rare style game from back in the day, it's like it's simple, but it's full of charm. And this game's not perfect, but especially considering it only has like 2 levels so far, but neither was Vampire Survivors at launch. And this game's going to get a lot, and I mean a lot better. But that's not why I just want to talk about like that's not why I just want to talk about this game. It's like Megabonk has a whole nother story that kind of like drew me in this week, and I think this a story that you should know about, and it's wholesome in this really cool way. Megabonk's like dev, who's known only as Veridad, was nominated for the best indie game at the Game Awards, or best debut indie game at the Game Awards. And instead of celebrating, this dude gets on Twitter and basically says, "Hey, I actually made games before under a different name, so I don't deserve this nomination. Please vote for someone else." Like, bro, that is the most indie dev thing I've ever heard. This guy was honest, he was humble, he was almost too humble. I mean, like, dang man, you got nominated for like a award at like the Game Awards, one of the biggest shows, like the MTV Awards of video games. You got nominated for that, and that's absolutely cool. Like, that is amazing. You have this guy being extremely humble in a moment to where like his game's getting recognized by the industry as a whole, and he just said no. Like, I made games before, it was just under a different name, so I don't deserve this nomination. You know, we got AAA companies that have like sold 50 million copies by lying about what the game is, or lying about improvements, who are like clamoring for awards. And this guy basically said, "Yeah, I'm out, man, because like I have made a video game before. There are other games that fit this category a little better, but thank you for recognizing me." Man, that's humble. I love that. I love that. That's a really cool story. And so yeah, I wanted to shout out that story and shout out Megabonk again, because yeah, this game is the real deal, and it seems like the developer is completely down to earth and a genuine person in the industry, to where like sometimes we don't get to see these kind of like wholesome stories like this. So yeah, shout out to you, man. Like very like Veridinad like absolutely killed it with this. I think he killed it with his game, with his actions, with the Game Awards. Shout out to you, man. You absolutely are doing the damn thing out there. I will shout out this game until the end of time. Keep killing it on Megabonk. I'm gonna completely support it. So yeah, it's already great, and I think this game is gonna get better as time goes on. Definitely go check it out if you have that on PC. If not, wait for the port and definitely go check it out then. A whole nother story that kind of like drew me in this week, and I think this a story that you should know about, and it's wholesome in this really cool way. Megabonk's like dev, who's known only as Veridad, was nominated for the best indie game at the Game Awards, or best debut indie game at the Game Awards. And instead of celebrating, this dude gets on Twitter and basically says, "Hey, I actually made games before under a different name, so I don't deserve this nomination. Please vote for someone else." All right, everybody, it is time for the sleeper pick of the week. Sleeper pick of the week. Sleeper pick of the week. So let's talk about a game that completely blindsided me, and then like absolutely took me off guard. This is a game called Ball X Pit. This game is chaos in the best way possible. Imagine, you know, let me break this down to you. Imagine Vampire Survivors. Imagine a city builder. Imagine a roguelike game. And imagine a game that has, it feels like it's some weird fever dream lore. That's pretty much Ball X Pit, like in a nutshell. Let me tell you how this game starts. You get a tiny intro cutscene, which basically says Babylon has fallen. There's a pit, and you go fix it. Then boom, immediate action. Like you get down to the nitty gritty. You are strapped down, and you are basically a guy shooting a ball at a whole bunch of undead enemies, and that's pretty much how they get the ball rolling on this game. So you're at the bottom of a vertical battlefield. Skeletons drop down from above. You fire balls upwards like a magical baseball machine gun, and it's basically instant fun. This game feels like pinball. It feels like this weird mix between like pinball and a twin stick shooter. You start off with small baby balls. They're weak, but then you unlock special balls like the fireballs, poison balls, ice balls, lightning balls, laser balls, like explosion balls, egg sack balls that burst into mini balls, and then stone man balls that roll forward, and kind of like bowling balls and bowling tanks. Like the creativity here is absolutely fantastic. By the way, pause on all the balls. Anyways, some of the combos legitimately made me shout, "What in the best way possible?" You can fuse balls together to make like fiery tornadoes, lava spike clusters, wind storms, fire bombs, like poison novas that hit your enemy, elemental like hailstorms. Like this is weird variety of upgrades that kind of feels like it is a mix between like the progression of Hades when you're doing a run in Hades and Vampire Survivors. And then there have this like on top of that, there's this town building element to where like after every run, you come back to your town and you can set different placements down, like new buildings, and those new buildings give you like new heroes, passive bluffs, stat boost, new upgrade paths, faster progression, and stronger starting gear. And you set all those things down in your little town, and then basically you can set down resources as well, and you basically shoot out the people that you have unlocked and shoot them at your town. And in order to completely build something, you have to hit it multiple times using your character as a pinball basically. And it's really cool. Like there's a cool town building element to it, a city building element to it. There's this really cool like feeling that to where like as you build items in your town, you actually progress your characters in their runs, and you like unlock these other really cool characters. You unlock these cool buffs. You unlock these really cool like combinations of weapons that you can use, in your future runs, and all of it makes you feel like you're progressively getting stronger as the game is also getting tougher. So I love it. I absolutely love it. I feel like this game knows what it is and absolutely kicks ass at it. It has like the thing where I love from roguelikes and rogueliked games to where like it feels like you always want to do just one more run, just one more run. And that feeling really sinks in. At first, I liked the game, and then suddenly I started dreaming about this game. No cap. Like I started to imagine little combinations of the balls that I can put together to like absolutely annihilate my enemies. And I started thinking about like the strategies and runs that I would take. By day 10 of playing this game, I was like strategizing upgrade paths while I was doing like mundane things like cleaning around the house. Like that's to me the mark of a good roguelike game. It has like it's where it grips you, it's where it makes you think about it constantly. It's like you're honestly imagining the paths that you can take, and and like you're thinking about like past runs, and you're thinking like, dang, I probably should have done that a little differently. I probably should have chose this upgrade as opposed to this upgrade. And maybe like like maybe I can do this thing a little bit differently and see how that plays out and see if I can go just a little bit further, and like, or maybe I can beat the boss that I've been struggling against, this time around. Yeah, I don't think the game's perfect, y'all. I do like, I want to be honest with you. I do think like this game has some weak points. Like For instance, I think the game does not explain its systems well enough early on. Like, I feel like one of the reasons why I kind of liked the game but didn't love it in my first couple of days of playing it is because, like, I feel like, especially with the town systems, I feel like it didn't explain everything super well. Like, I feel like it could have probably done a better job of that. But after you got into it, I feel like the game, after you know everything and feel it, like, figure it out more so by trial and error than actually than it explaining its systems well, then man, that shit hits deep. That shit hits hard. It's addictive. I feel like the city building resource economy takes a minute to absolutely understand. I feel like the story is basically non-existent after that first intro cutscene, and I get it. This game isn't going to be a narrative front runner for best narrative of the year. This is not why we play Ball X Pit, y'all. But, like, damn, you gave us a story to kind of like sink our teeth into at the beginning, and then kind of left us hanging after that. Anyways, yeah, this game is also like a game to where levels have to be replayed multiple times to progress. So if you're one of those kind of people that get tired of looking at the same game or the same levels over and over again, this shit ain't gonna be for you. Ball Expic is not gonna be for you. But honestly, I forgive all of that because the game is so fun. It is absolutely amazing to play. And my final thoughts are, like, Ball X Pit is one of those small, passionate, brilliantly designed indie games that punches well above its weight class. I think it's clever. I think it's creative. I think it's satisfying, and it's only like $15 to $20 depending on the platform of choice that you're playing it on. If you like Vampire Survivors, if you like Brotato, if you like Peglin, if you like Hades, if you like any game where numbers get bigger, then you owe it to yourself to pick this one up. Definitely go play Ball X Pit. It's my sleeper game of the week, and yeah, I definitely think you should play it. All right, everybody, that wraps up today's episode of the single player experience. Call of Duty might be losing the plot both figuratively and literally, but thankfully the indie scene is thriving, it's popping, it's absolutely taking off, and it always gives me hope. Like, games like Megabonk, games like Ball X Pit remind me why I love this medium so much. Creativity thrives where freedom exists, y'all, and man, yeah, we're getting some really cool indie games this year. We've gotten a lot of cool indie games this year, and yeah, it makes me happy. It does my heart well to see, like, all these indie games thrive. Anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend, leave a review, hit that follow button so you never miss a episode going forward. I've been Sebastion Malden. That's, we talked about Call of Duty, we talked about Ball X Pit, we talked about Megabonk and the story around it revolving around, like, the Game Awards. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to me ramble. I'm Sebastion Malden again. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being an amazing audience. Thanks for playing single player games, and remember, the best experience is that single player experience. I'm out, y'all. Bye.
Remember, the best experience is a single player experience. This is a single player experience. This is a single player experience. Yeah, hit that like, hit subscribe, keep it locked, no doubt. We talk passion, progression, what this life's about. Got reviews so real, you can feel that route. When we rate them out of 10, we gon' spell that out. Indie love from the block to the cloud. Solo grind, we just speak it loud. Put just fire, yeah, we run that lane. Best experience, y'all know the name. Running through these worlds, yeah, I'm taking my time. Solo in my zone, every story's a line. No one by my side, just me and the screen. Finding peace in the moments in between. Remember, the best experience is a single play experience. Remember, the best experience is a single play experience. Running through the words, long time. Solo in my zone, smooth time. No one by my side. Wait for side screen. Finding peace in the moments in between. Remember, the best experience is a single play experience. Remember, the best experience